Thank you. My name is Michael Gannon. I'm a resident of Unionville. I've been since 1983 with the occasional Gannon. Your Worship, members of council, city staff and residents, I'd first like to express my thanks to those council members who, after the vote on the financial framework on April the 26th, gladly given their time to listen to us, listen to our many comments, and thank you for that. Same goes to staff. I know you guys have all been extremely busy. This is a huge venture, and thank you to those of your staff who also have been very receptive to listening to the residents and engaging us in conversations. Despite all this dialogue, however, and all the many dog and pony shows, there's been very little new information of any real substance since April. You might characterize this as having been perhaps too much dogging in, not enough ponying up of new information. And certainly no indication to change no indication of any intention to change the financial framework. Yes, transparency, sadly lacking today, has at last been recognised as being required as a big step forward. So thank you for your Worship's announcement this week. But without a commitment to change, we're nibbling around the edges. We don't want more information about a financial framework that we don't like. Yeah. And I know this is a planning meeting, sir. You spent 15 minutes on the financial framework. I may be allowed to. The highlights. Number one, who pays if the operators bail out on us? What happens if they declare bankruptcy? Yeah. Because they fail to get a team. Or the team arrives and the team gets moved. Let's be honest here. This is about acquiring an NHL team. Yeah. Right. It is essential to the commercial success of this venture. And so therefore the residents need to have a commercial success because the residents are on the hook to pay some of this money. So a commercial success has to be required. So number one, what happens if it's not a commercial success? These guys bail out on us. And we've seen that in many other similar instances, other municipalities. Number two, are these voluntary development charges legal or not? Yeah. What happens if developers want their money back? Perhaps because one of them has perhaps some difficulty with a future application. Hey, come on, I paid my arena levy. Why are you giving me a hard time with this application? We've been debating this subject for 6 months now. Why no clear answer on the question of are these voluntary development charges legal? Number three. Is Mr. Ralston an appropriate partner?
Yeah.
No. If the press is to believe, you've seen lots of articles in various press, it seems to be a very good question. Yeah. And so when we've asked you that question in public, your response has been, Mr. Ralston's companies are listed on the TSX. Well, sir, I don't believe that to be due diligence. I recall just this year, Sino Forest. I recall Briex. I can talk about Northbound Network. This is not due diligence. Right. Now, planning issues. Sorry, let me just finalize on the financial side. So, we must assume, therefore, that the same financial risks to taxpayers will remain. So, sir, if you insist on having an arena, we do not want those risks. Please find a better way of financing it. Make it entirely private sector. Right. Or and eliminate the financial risks to taxpayers. Right. Now, planning issues. The planning report that was tabled yesterday is clearly not the way to go about planning for this venture. Perhaps because of time pressure on staff, or perhaps of other pressures, that's the way it was presented. If I've understood this document properly, the only item that need come back to Council or DSC, and hence public scrutiny, is the financial framework. All the other critical items, roads, traffic, transit, parking, etc., all outlined in Appendix A, are delegated to individual staffs to approve on a case-by-case basis as they see fit, as long as Council has approved the financial framework. Well, the planning report did not say a new financial framework. And Council, you approved the financial framework on April the 26th. So therefore, with that planning document, if it survives as is, you've essentially delegated this whole thing to staff, and it need never come to light again. The result, millions of dollars can now be spent without further public scrutiny or Council oversight. I really hope that is not the intent.
There's a lot of
It's can't be all of us. How can you have a sensible planning discussion without an agreed financial plan as a context? You shouldn't have just deferred this report yesterday. You should have pushed it back and asked these guys to come back with a different approach. Doing it this way is a perversion of democracy in Markham. Right. Very quick summary. Ratepayer groups have already told you residents do not want to assume financial risks in order to allow a private sector business to operate an NHL team and an arena. Number two, please do the site planning in the context of a proper financial plan. And number three, do it in the usual transparent democratic fashion that we've all come to expect in Markham.
Yeah.
Thank you.